What's up, guys? The April Patreon rewards are now available. Armageddon, Teferi Time Reveler, and Nekusar the Mindraiser are all available through the end of the month. If you'd like to support our channel and pick up these sweet proxies, you can do so at patreon.com/itresolves or clicking the link in the description below. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another gameplay video. Today we are trying out a Boros Winota deck. This one's a little bit weird, but Winota's a very interesting card. So let's take a peek here. It's a 4/4 for 4 in Boros colors. Whenever a non-human creature you control attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can put a human creature card from among them onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. It does gain indestructible until the end of the turn, and then you put the rest of the cards on the bottom of your deck. So what we're looking to do here is swing in the early turns of the game, get some non-human creatures out, and then be able on turn 4 to drop Winota, swing out with all of our non-human creatures, and then hopefully get a lot more and win the game kind of on turn 4. That's really the goal. So to help us get there, we've got a number of cards. Looking at our 1-drop slot, we've got 2 Grim Initiate. This is an interesting one for this deck. I toyed with a couple different numbers of some of these cards, this being one of them. It is a 1/1 for 1, so it comes down early, can start swinging in early because it does have first strike, and then when it dies, it amasses for 1. So even if it dies, we still continue to get a little bit of value and a non-human creature that then we can, hopefully attack with later. 10 Street Dodger, another interesting kind of enabler for this deck. One, it's a 1/1 with haste. It's going to start swinging in very early, but not only that, you can make it unblockable, swing in with it, and then, of course, trigger the Winota later on. Fight is a very, very powerful card in this deck. 1 mana, instant speed. Choose one or both. Target human you control gets +1/+1 and gains indestructible until the end of the turn, and then you can do the exact same for a non-human creature. So this gives you a lot of longevity in a deck where obviously you're looking at a lot of really powerful humans and a lot of really powerful non-humans. So this is a really perfect card, very, very efficient as well. Skyknight Vanguard, one of the cards that we're looking to either 1, get out very early and start swinging, or 2, get out with Winota. Whenever it attacks, you do get a 1/1 white soldier creature token, tapped and attacking as well, but it is also just a 1/2 flyer for 2. So it just spits out tokens. It's just kind of a nice card to have out. That way, when you do get to swing, hopefully you don't have to, but if you get to swing on the next turn after you combo with Winota, this just gives you a lot more longevity. Fire Prophecy is a card I'm kind of trying out. It's an instant for 2, deals 3 damage to any target creature, and then you can put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library if you do draw a card. So the thing for this for me is, 1, it's a lightning strike with upside. So 1, it's dealing damage to a creature. We don't care as much about the fact that this does not deal damage to the player, because obviously we're just trying to poke through as much damage as possible, and this helps us get there. And then for us, it helps us dig for Winota. Yeah, it's only 1 card, but every card counts, and certainly this helps us get there. So I do think this is pretty nice in our deck. Also does help us with our land count. We do have quite a low land count at 20 lands. I'm trying 20. That might not be the correct number, but helping us dig for those if we ever find ourselves in a position where we need it is also, quite handy. Bonecrusher Giant. Deals 2 damage, obviously. This card's been in standard for quite a while. Deals 2 damage to any target. Fantastic. Finish off the opponent, burn some creatures, do whatever you need to do. Not only that, though, it does come in on turn 3 as a 4/3 non-human creature, which can trigger the Winota as well. So just a really powerful card in this deck. Legion Warboss, very same. It's a non-creature spell, a non-human creature that pumps out even more non-human creatures that all can attack and all can trigger Winota. Worth noting, for every non-human creature that attacks, you get a trigger. So this does stack. So Legion Warboss, really, really good with that. Anax, another enabler, but also just kind of an insurance policy. Anything that we control that dies, we get a satyr for. Those satyrs all trigger Winota as well. So there's a lot of stuff there that can really, really help us out. Hero of the Nyxborn, a 2/2 for 3, but when it comes into play, you create a 1/1 white human soldier that can, obviously be tapped and attack, or can also come in and attack if you need it to. Whenever you cast a spell that targets it, creatures you control get +1/+0 until the end of the turn. What's great is if you target that with like Fight as One, for instance, you can really do some damage. I do only run 2 of these. A lot of these legendary ones you'll see that I'm only running 2 of, because obviously if you hit more than 1, it doesn't really help you that much. Tajic, Legion's End, a really powerful 3-drop creature, comes in, swings immediately. Very good at that. But not only that, you can give it first strike. It mentors another creature as well. So there's a lot of upside there. Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, a really good enabler for Winota, because you can pay 0, get 2 elementals out, attack with them, and it doesn't really matter what happens. It's a really good card for that, and you get 2 triggers off of Winota. We've already talked here. Haktos the Unscarred, another legendary creature, so we are only running 2 of here, but just a really powerful card. For 4 mana, we're getting 6 damage on the field. That is a lot. So if we hit that off of Winota, our damage output goes up by 6. Not only that, we get to choose, hopefully, at random, but hopefully we get something that can help protect this from the opponent's board. And it also does come in with Indestructible as well. Sir Alin, an interesting card for this deck. This is a bit more of an insurance policy as well. Not only though does it have first strike, which just makes it really good if you can hit it with Winota, but it also, on the following turn, if you happen to have a following turn, pumps up your entire board. Now, obviously, we're getting a lot of things out with this, and so the idea here is that even if you can't win on that turn that you swing out with all of these creatures, the idea is this will help you get there the next turn. So, like I said, 20 lands. We are not running any temples or anything like that, solely because we don't want tapped lands in this list. We do have 4 Sacred Foundry. We do have 2 Fabled Passage. I didn't want to go too high on these because they do kind of come into play tapped sometimes, and especially with 20 lands, that can happen a lot. So I wanted to avoid that, but I do want to have a little bit of deck thinning and a shuffle effect to work with the Fire Prophecy if we really need it to. So this is the list. This is one that I came up with based on a number of other different lists that I have been looking at. Don't know that it's perfect. Don't think it's a final list. I know a lot of people are kind of going for like a Jeskai, Agent of Treachery list, which looks very good, and I do think that's something we will try, hopefully in the near future. But either way, I do think this is a very fun deck, and I'm looking forward to playing around with it. I've only played a couple games just to kind of get the swing of things and see how it all plays out. And I did make a few changes after those initial 2 games just to hopefully better the deck. We'll see. I do think this is a pretty awesome deck. Turn 4 is very much a crucial turn if you can get that Winota out for certain. Excuse me. So we'll see what we can do here against Javi. As always, guys, if you are not already subscribed or you haven't checked out any of our other videos, we certainly encourage you to do so. We of course would appreciate the support. This is actually a decent keep. I mean, we don't have any 1-drop, but that's okay. I don't think we need one right away. We've got this if we need to kill something very early, and then of course we can jump into either of these. So I am going to keep this. We can Fabled Passage on 1 to get our white. So that's going to be the plan. But yes, if you're not already subscribed, please do consider subscribing, liking, commenting, supporting us if you do enjoy the content. We really would appreciate it. We've been trying to pump a lot out for you guys with the new set dropping and everything. It just seemed like the perfect time. So we're doing the best we can. Okay, let's go ahead and do this. Looks like an Azorius kind of control list. So we'll see what we can actually do here. Hey, and there's our 4th land. That's actually great for us. I'm going to go ahead and pass here. And we'll see what they want to do on this upcoming turn. If they just pass, we may be in bad shape just due to counters. Looks like that is not the case. We'll see what they do. If they do minus, just not targeting anything, we may be able to go ahead and kill Teferi. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, though. Okay, so Tajic, not a bad draw here, solely because we can actually swing in immediately and get Teferi down a little bit. I think I'm going to do that, actually. Just so they can't slow us down and bounce anything. I think that's the way to go. Worth noting, Teferi does shut off our fight for one, which is not great, but not the worst thing in the world either.
No, I am not making this up as I go.
Fight as one, excuse me. Okay, so what do we want to do here? Considering they very well might have the Shatter the Sky, I'm going to do this. They could very easily counter, and that's okay. That just means they're not going to be shattering Tajic, so...
I've learned a bunch of new burn spells to try on you. Say hi to my fiery friends.
Let's try and get rid of Teferi here. Not 100% positive it's going to work, but it's worth a shot. Yep, definitely thought that was coming, and that's what I was expecting. And that's okay. That's why we played out Chandra and not any other creatures. We did not want to overcommit in that instance, so glad we did what we did. And now they do have to kind of figure out how to deal with this Chandra. Certainly they can bounce it. That doesn't really permanently deal with it, especially since the creatures come down with haste. So our goal right now is really just to manage this Teferi in a meaningful way. They do have counter magic left up, so we are going to have to be very conscious of that. Let's play a Legion Warboss and see what they do. Very reasonable if they counter this, I understand, but that's great. Or it's not great for us, but we do have the backup, so that's kind of okay. It looks like they're going to thirst for meaning here. Okay. Really just wanting to dig for that Winota at this point. We've got a lot of power on the field, which is great. The opportunity now is truly just to...
They're so cute.
Okay, so... I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to do this now. Since we can't do it at instant speed, I'm just going to get rid of this Teferi. They very well may have another one, and that's okay. They've not got amazing targets to bounce, if we're honest. But I wanted to get rid of that Teferi before that 0-4 wall comes down. That way we can make sure we punch the damage through as needed. They have drawn quite a few cards here, so I do fully expect that they've got answers in hand. And again, we don't want to overcommit. That certainly is an issue with these red decks, so I think... Yeah, let's go ahead and do this.
Don't worry, I brought company.
Fully expect that, again, they will have a Shatter at some point here. They may have it in the next turn or so, but figure now's as good a time as any to start going ahead and swinging in. And again, that is why we're not really overcommitting. I think we can go ahead and throw out this Grim Initiate. And that's no big deal, but again, this just has the built-in kind of protection against Destroyed, so... We'll pass here. Don't really want to be firing off these Bonecrusher Giants too early. Again, we know they have Teferi, so for me, I think the right play is, you know, if they play out Teferi, bounce something. That does give us, on our turn, obviously, the opportunity to shock that and make sure that it dies as quickly as possible, despite what they have on the board. If they get a Dream Trawler out, for instance, then certainly we are not going to be in great shape. So we certainly need to do the best we can to manage that. We'll go ahead and pass here. Chandra doing some good work here. Really liking Chandra in this deck. Unfortunately, we're not getting a Winota right now, so we're not really seeing what this deck can do, but we'll hopefully get there. Elspeth conquers death. Yeah. I'm assuming they're going to take out Chandra. That would just make the most sense. Could very well be the Legion Warboss, but no. Okay. So that leads me to think, obviously, they do have a Shatter or something. Winota. Perfect. Okay, let's try it. Let's see. Perfect. So here we go. This is the fun part. So let's get that out. Unfortunately, we miss. Wow. Okay. There we go. Let's get that out. And let's get Tajic. All right. This is what our deck is looking to do. We certainly did it. I'm not counting it up, but I'm assuming we're not going to quite get there this turn. If we get close, then that's fine with me. We can Bonecrusher Giant for the win if we need to. Surprising they went with that. There we go. We got it, guys. Out from under an Azorius control deck as well. That is definitely a feat. I am very, very happy with that showing. So let's go ahead and jump into a game 2. We'll do games 2 and 3 here and see how we do. Hey, look at there. All right. Looking forward to this, guys. This deck is extremely, extremely sweet. Really, really do love it. I know I've looked at, again, I've looked at a number of lists. A lot of them are running some different stuff. Like, for instance, we do have Kenrith in some of these lists, which is a very powerful include. I certainly want to make that very clear, but I don't know. You know, it's a very good card. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if I want to run it. And maybe that's incorrect. I'm not sure. We are going to keep this, by the way. Looks like we're against the Kroxa deck, potentially. No, Grixis. Okay. Go ahead and pass here. Unfortunately, not a very fast start from our hand, but that's okay. Land pass on both ends. Okay. I'm going to get the Legion Warboss out here. They may have a Quench. Yep. That's okay. Probably, maybe Anax would have been a little bit of a better play there, but that's okay. In fact, let's try that now. Missing our 4th land, but hopefully baiting out some of these counters, which is great for us. Again, don't really care if this dies all that much because we get a non-human out of it. And that's exactly what we want. Grixis Control is what we are up against here, so I'm assuming some kind of Kroxa deck where they're looking to discard a lot of what we have. These Grixis decks can be very, very mean, so we will keep that in mind. We do have a Bonecrusher Giant here, though, so I think because we need the land, I think I'm going to do this. I'm going to throw this back. And there we go. We did get the land. That's very helpful. So very, very glad we did that. I think that was the smart play. We could have Bonecrusher Gianted that. And certainly that may have been that would have been a more efficient play, so to speak, because we are getting 2 damage for a 2 toughness creature. But I like doing what we did there a little bit better. Getting white here so we can do this if we would like to. And I'm actually going to kind of bait a little bit. They could very easily counter that. They did not. They didn't fall for it. That makes sense. Okay, so. I don't know if I should go for it quite yet. I'm a little concerned. But they do have things like Thought Erasure, I'm guessing, so I'm going to try it. My expectation... Okay, well, I fully expected that to get countered, but that's okay. So we do get only 1 trigger, but we'll see what we can do. It's kind of okay. We still get the trigger. I'm surprised they didn't do that first. We'll just get another Winota. Perfect. So now they are down to 8. So we'll see what we can do this next turn. Okay. We do not have any hasters in our hand, which is worth noting, so I'm going to play out this Anax, though. Just in case stuff dies, we can continue to get some stuff on the board. Okay, they're going to bedevil that. Sure. Get that out. Get Grim Initiate out. Just start pressuring as much as possible here. They are down to 7. They've got to be a little bit careful. They've of course got Murderous Rider, which does have lifelink. Ooh, and Ashiok, very powerful. Okay, sure. Let's see. I'm gonna send them all that way. That's fine. All right, now we need diversification of threats, right? So let's get this guy out. Let's get just more bodies on the board. This way, okay. I mean, it's a good card.
Check out these fighters.
Wipes the board for us, but we do get a lot of stuff back. Which is again why that Anax is so important. And I think we can actually win here. Let's move to attacks. Let's swing all. And Bonecrusher them. And we got it. Awesome, guys. That was a tough matchup as well, but thankfully we did get there. I'm going to run off just really quick. I will be right back. Alright guys, sorry about that. Just had to jump off very, very quickly to answer a phone call. Let's claim our prize and let's go to game 3. We're feeling good with this list. This is working out, I'll say much better than I anticipated. I did think this deck is, I mean, I do still think this deck is quite good, but I did not think it would, you know, succeed on the level that it has, at least so far. We'll certainly see how it goes. Missing 1 or 2 lands here, but we do have a nice 1, 2, 3 if we can get that land. So we'll see. 2, depending on obviously what the opponent's got going on. So let's just go ahead and play this out and swing in. Pretty easy turn 1. Black. Okay. That's fine. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. We'll take our 2, that's fine. And we'll swing in. What is this? This is the, yeah, this guy. So they're gonna have a lot of stuff, which is fine. Cauldron Familiar, sure. I'm gonna keep the pressure going. It's a very good card. So the idea here is I assume that they keep playing this out and then just drain us for 2 every time. I have been up against this deck once or twice before. I'm not sure how good this deck is, to be brutally honest. And maybe I just am misevaluating it. I think it's fine. I just don't know if it's as fast as it needs to be. Sure. Okay. We're swinging with everything. And we'll see what they do. They can block. Sure. It's where fight as one becomes very, very good. Let's get this guy out there. So we do have a flying threat, so that we can hopefully poke through some damage. Even if they clog up the low ground, we've got a flyer. We can kind of fly above and hopefully do quite a bit of damage. Nice to get this thing down before it goes too out of hand. Obviously last turn they only had 3 mana, so kind of clogged things up for them. Hopefully they don't have anything to get out of this, but we will see. I certainly think this deck has potential to like really, really go off, but I don't know that they had it here. They might be... Ah, okay. Sure. You got it. Makes sense. We're just gonna do this. I don't particularly care to lose out too much on just them cycling this guy over and over again. So let's get Bonecrusher out. My expectation, they probably do not have sweepers, so I'm not too worried about that. And if we draw a Winota, excuse me, at this point we can certainly do a lot of damage. So I'm looking to play to that out, so to speak. That would really be our best draw, just because we've got so many things that can trigger it. I mean, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 because of this. 6 triggers off of Winota, which could very easily win you a game. But we will see. I do really like the feel of this deck. It's cool because it's an aggro deck, but it's got some cool little kind of combo features, and I think that that's really, really fun. Aggro decks just in general are not like my go-to favorite decks by any means, but this certainly makes it quite fun. Okay, so we do have a fight as one here. I'm gonna swing in with everything. Let's just go for it. Let's give this guy first strike, or excuse me, the counter. I'm trying to think what I care about getting rid of the most. Or what I care about keeping the most, maybe another option. So that's going to die. That is not going to die. That can and that can. So I think what I care about getting rid of the most, well, I guess to do a little bit of both. We get a human here. Oh, wait. Excuse me. Can I target this? No, I cannot. Okay. My mistake. Is this... Yeah, it's just a soldier, so that does... Okay. Let's do... Sorry, guys. I'm just trying to think what the best outcome is. I think I'm actually going to do this. I kind of want to keep the Legion Warboss alive, just because he's spitting out so many tokens. It's going to make it difficult for this person to actually swing in at any given time. And certainly if we can stem the bleeding enough, we would be able to hopefully get to our Winota and then be able to really do some damage. So that is our goal. All that damage, by the way, and they're only down to 18. That is worth noting. Wow, okay. So gonna sacrifice it to the priest, I assume, after they do their thing here. Sacrifice that and the serrated scorpion. We really, really want Winota at this point. Looks like the opponent really debating on that serrated scorpion. I don't really know exactly what they're debating on, but that's okay. Yep. So I guess they could sacrifice these two, but I would think if they were going to sacrifice this, they would have attacked with it. So that's why it seems kind of weird that they didn't attack with that. But I guess we can just ditch these two. Sure. Sacrifice a creature. Well, we get rid of the 1/1. I'll do that. I'm gonna attack all. I don't think we have the luxury here of really being not aggressive. They certainly have us on a clock here, so we got to be pretty careful. They are not like going ham though with this list right now. I mean, they're gonna be able to attack him for a couple damage, and like obviously that's not great, but it's not really the worst for us either. Like, it could be a lot worse, is what I'm getting at here. Now they will. Well, actually, no, they won't. They are short a Croxa. I'm just gonna keep the damage train going here. Especially considering they've got things like the Claim the Firstborn. There's no real reason for me to be, we'll say, well, there's not much reason for finesse in this matchup. I don't believe, at least. Here I'm absolutely just going to play out the Bonecrusher. I'm also just trying to keep them off of multiple creatures so they can't just keep priesting. And as long as they don't have their second red, which I'm really banking on, they will not be able to play Croxa. Now this is going to certainly help them get there. But we're presenting some big threats here, so they will have to do something. Oh, that's a good one. It's not a bad one for us.
I'm happy as a hellion to start some fires.
Let's see. I think we're just gonna do the kind of plain and simple route.
Say hi to my fiery friends.
Unfortunately, we're not getting the Winota here, which would certainly be doing a lot more. Chandra's not a bad draw by any means, but unfortunately, that could spell the game for us if we don't get through this next turn. Which 6 damage is not a lot for this deck. Probably worth it for us not to have attacked with everything here, but yeah, you know, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So they would have gone down to 1 had they just let it all. So you're gonna sack these two, I take it. So we do have to sacrifice a creature. can just happily sacrifice that. It's no big deal. So we do have, I mean, we're lethal next turn, but it's a big if we actually get a next turn. 4 damage again for this deck is not a lot. They are still stuck on red mana. That is interesting. Ah, okay. Well, they got it. Yep, claim the firstborn. Just gets them there. So unfortunately, that's just a matter how. I mean, that's just how the game goes. I think given our next turn, we would have won, but you know, well done by the opponent. They had to claim the firstborn. This deck is awesome. If you have not played with Winota, it is a very, very fun card. I know we only got to see it go off really once or twice, but hopefully in the next video, part 2 of this, we'll be able to see it just a little bit more and see it in action and hopefully win some more games. This one has been extremely fun. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure, as always, leave a like or a comment down below. Please make sure also to share a deck list if you've got one in mind. If you've got one for specifically Winota, I know people, like I said, are playing Jeskai versions, or if you've just got any deck list for standard, maybe even historic that you're interested in seeing, we'd love to play it. So please, please share that down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next gameplay video, hopefully very soon.